A teacher walked into her classroom with a clear jar, a bag of rocks, a bucket of sand, and a glass of water. She placed all the large rocks carefully into the jar. "Who thinks this jar is full?" she asked. Almost half of her students raised their hands. Next, she began to pour sand from the bucket into the jar full of large rocks, emptying the entire bucket into the jar. "Who thinks this jar is full now?" she asked again. Almost all of her students now had their hands up. To her students' surprise, she emptied the glass of water into the seemingly full jar of rocks and sand. "What do you think I'm trying to show you?" she inquired. One eager student answered, "That things may appear full, but there is always room left to put more stuff in." The teacher smiled and shook her head. "Good try, but the point of this illustration is that if I didn't put in the large rocks first, I would not be able to fit in afterwards." This concept can be applied to the idea of constant struggle between priorities that are urgent versus those that are important. When you have limited resources, priorities must be in place since there isn't enough to go around. Take your money, for example. Unless you have an unlimited amount of funds, you can't have an unlimited amount of important financial goals. Back to the teacher's illustration. Let's say the big rocks are your important goals. Things like buying a home, helping your children pay for college, retirement at 60, etc. They're all important, but not urgent. These things may happen 10, 20, or 30 years from now. Urgent things are sand and water. A monthly payment like your mortgage payment or your monthly utility and internet bills. The urgent things must be paid, and paid on time. If you don't pay your mortgage on time, well, you might end up retiring homeless. Even though these monthly obligations might be in mind more often than your retirement or your toddler's freshman year in college, if all you focus on are urgent things, then the important goals fall by the wayside. And in some cases, they stay there long after they can realistically be rescued. Saving up for a down payment for a home, funding a college education, or having enough to retire on is nearly impossible to come up with overnight. In most cases, it takes time and discipline to save up and plan well to achieve these important goals. What are the big rocks in your life? If you never considered them, spend some time thinking about it. When you have a few in mind, place them in your priority queue of your life. Otherwise, if those important goals are ignored for too long, they might become one of the urgent goals and perhaps ultimately unrealized if they weren't put in your plan early on.